Hey everybody, I'm Diane Gale and I am the author of the blog sustainableslowliving.com, and today you and I are going to make homemade cat treats. These treats are simple, they're quick, they only have 3 ingredients and your cat is going to love them, but I'll bet they won't tell you they do. Cats will be cats. The great thing about this, seriously, is it is made with chicken, but if your cat doesn't like chicken, because cats can be picky, you can substitute things out in this recipe, and there is information about that over on the blog, and as always the link will be down below for you to check it out if you would like to. We are going to run through this pretty quickly because it's so simple. I have a 5-ounce can of chicken canned in water in this little bowl here, and I'm going to put it in a bigger bowl so that I can mash it up well with a fork. You want it to be mashed as much as possible. You can put it in a food processor. I don't have a food processor here, so I'm not going to be able to do that. But I'm going to, actually it looks like I'm going to need the knife. I'm just going to get it in the tiniest pieces that I possibly can. So if you can see that, I've just kind of really turned it into mush. And I had to go in with my fingers in order to do that. This is the first time that I'm making these treats, and I wasn't sure how it was going to work. I thought I was going to be able to cut it with a knife and a fork, but I really couldn't. So I went in right with my fingers, mushed it all together, and it incorporated a lot of the water into the treats as well. The next thing we're going to put in is flour. I'm actually using a yellow cornmeal today. I liked the idea of cornmeal, mostly because of how inexpensive it was. You can use an all-purpose flour, you can use an oat flour, you can use a wheat flour. You can use just about any flour that's going to give it some substance, as long as you check and make sure that it's safe for your cat. I do know that all-purpose flour, cornmeal, wheat, and oat are safe for your cat. They don't provide any nutritional value to your cat. So there is that. But you're going to need something to hold these treats together, and I'm going to stand behind the fact that these are exponentially better than something that's commercially produced, just because you can control the quality of the ingredients and the fact that they are indeed a treat. They're not to be fed to your cat in large quantities. So I'm going to put a 1/3 cup of yellow cornmeal in here, and then I'm going to put in 1 egg as well. The flour and the egg are really just about holding the treat together, right? You have to have something to kind of glue all of that chicken together. And I'm just going to take and mix it up as well as I can. I like the way the cornmeal gives it a nice color too. We'll see how that color turns out after baking. All you have to do is mix this well enough to incorporate the ingredients. But go ahead and mash it up really good if you have the time, because it gives you another opportunity to kind of mush all of that chicken up together. So when I put this recipe up on the blog, I'm going to recommend that you take a baking sheet and you line it with parchment paper, simply because I think that most everyone has those tools and it will work just fine. I have my oven set at 350, and I'm going to do this in my cast iron skillet today, because the only baking sheets that I have here are a nasty old pizza tray and a baking stone, and it's just a little less cumbersome in the cast iron skillet. Kind of equates to the same thing. I did line the skillet with parchment paper. And then I'm just going to take this and I'm going to pour it out into the skillet. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to press it down into the skillet until, well, it's probably going to cover most of the skillet, because I want these to be pretty thin. This is what it's going to look like when you're done. Again, I pressed it out as thin as I could in that skillet. It is actually pretty thin. So I'm just going to take a knife and I'm going to score these treats. Now I haven't made these before, and I know that they're scoring them when they've been done in a food processor. This has like little shreds of chicken in it, so I'm not sure that it's going to work the same way, but we are going to give it a try. I'm going to score them lengthwise, and then I'm going to score them by width. So I've got that completely scored. I'm hoping that this is going to work out. We are going to find out together very, very shortly, because these are going to go in the oven and I don't expect them to take 10 minutes. But the cast iron is cold, so they might. I think on a baking sheet, these are going to take like 6 to 8 minutes. But we'll see. I'm going to put these in the oven and I will be back in a little bit. We are not going to taste them, even though they are all human-friendly ingredients. I am going to share them with a friend of mine who has a cat, and I will be able to be certain that they're loved by felines before I put this post out. But yeah, we're not tasting them together. But I will be back with you so that we can take a look at how they turn out. Okay, you guys, so I took these out of the oven and I cooled them off. I've already broken quite a few pieces off here, so I'm going to set those on the side. And then I'm going to see if I can't hold these up for you so that you can get an idea of what they look like. They really, really came out great. I'm thrilled with them. About halfway through the baking process, I pulled them out of the oven and I cut them all the way through. I re-scored them, but I really did cut all the way through. And I did that because they looked like they were like kind of mushing out together, and I wanted them to be easy to break. I wasn't sure how the chicken was going to work out, if it was going to be too stringy. But now that I'm looking at it, it might not even have been necessary. Anyway, I'm going to recommend it because it worked really well. And these are fabulous. They have a great texture. They're soft, but they have a crispness on the outside. And I think if your kitty loves chicken, they're going to go crazy for these. So, you know, great homemade treat that you get to control the ingredients of. I haven't looked at the ingredients on cat food or cat treats in a very long time because I haven't had a cat in a very long time, but I know that in general with commercially produced pet food, they kind of use the bottom of the barrel ingredients, okay? And it is a processed food, and just like processed food for humans, there's just a lot of stuff in there that we don't need, and the processing itself takes away from the health benefits. So this is a way you can control what your kitty is getting and know that when you're giving them a treat, you're giving them ingredients that are as wholesome and pure as they can possibly be. And it literally takes no time to make. You can see that. So as far as storing these, you know, I mean, this is the best time to give one to your kitty, right? Like right now when they're fresh. It's like the perfect day to treat them. And then after that, you can store these in the fridge. They are human food, right? There is chicken, there is flour, and there is egg in here. They're going to store in the fridge for like, 4 to 5 days. I mean, really kind of up to a week. And then if you want to, you can take and lay them out on a piece of parchment paper and put them in the freezer and let them freeze individually, and then put them in an airtight container. Because you froze them individually, they won't stick together. And in the morning, you can pull a couple of them out of there so that you can give them to your kitty when they're thawed later in the day. This is quite a few treats here, so you may not, you know, be able to go through them quickly enough to just use them out of the refrigerator, particularly if you only have one feline friend. So yeah, these are fabulous. I'm thrilled with how they turned out. If your kitty loves chicken, I think that they are going to love this. I hope you're going to make some for your feline friend. head over to the blog post. The link is down below. You can check out the substitutions for the flour and, you know, for the chicken. If your kitty doesn't like chicken, you can use other things. And as always, it is a pleasure having you here with me today. I love that you're here. And you and I are going to get together again, and we're going to do it really soon.